Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and I just got another issue of the LEGO Ninjago Magazine. This month's issue comes with a Spectral Dragonian minifigure, which is pretty cool to get because it's the version with the wings, which previously only came in Lloyd's Jetmech. However, this is just like the generic version of them from the show, so it's a little bit lame that in the main sets you can only get like one complete version that looks like they do in the show. So now we have a much more accessible way to get them in these magazines, but of course we'll take a close look at that at the end of this video. This magazine also came with a bonus minifigure, which is always fun to see. If you guys don't know how the bonus minifigures work, basically every now and then they'll have leftover stock from previous magazines, so they will add in an extra minifigure to a newer magazine just to get rid of some of that older stock. The bonus minifigure is not guaranteed to be any specific one. It varies depending on what they have available, what retailer you're buying from, and just how lucky you are. So if you guys get this magazine, you may or may not get the same one as me. And I believe the bonus minifigures are exclusively a UK thing, so if you guys get a magazine in like Germany, for example, this is not going to be a thing. In my case, my bonus minifigure is one of the Imperium soldiers, the golden ones. Not the most interesting minifigure in the world, however, these guys are the generic army in the show, so kind of cool to get more. I don't mind having extras of them. Definitely not the worst bonus minifigure we could have gotten, but once again, we'll take a closer look at that at the end of the video. For the time being, let me remove these from the cover of the magazine so we can see the entire thing. And now with those removed, we can see the full cover of the magazine. Before we get to that though, I do have an update for you guys, which is kind of sad, I guess. This might be my last magazine video. Possibly. Hopefully not, but it possibly could be, at least for the time being. I've been reviewing these for like 4 years now. It's one of the most popular series on my channel. I think you guys really enjoy seeing the comics, seeing the collectibles, everything. And I enjoy it too. I think the magazines are awesome and I love covering them for you guys. The issue though is I live in the United States and these magazines are pretty much exclusive to Europe. There is some other places you can find them. I was recently in Canada and I spotted one of them. It was way too expensive over there, but Europe is the main place they're found. They're made in Germany and then most other European countries also get them. So because of that, I have to import them to the US because they're not normally sold here. However, now an issue has arose because there is new tariffs that have been introduced in the United States, and I don't mind paying a little bit of money. I don't mind paying some tariffs to like create the content for you guys. Obviously, I don't prefer to do that, but if that's what has to happen, that's what has to happen. However, I don't even have that option now because the magazine providers, the tariffs for toys is different than the tariffs for magazines, and they are a magazine company, right? The people I'm buying from normally sell magazines, the toys are just a bonus. So I got an email from them saying, hey, because of the tariffs, we don't want to ship things as toys, we want to just ship things as magazines. So you have two options. We can either continue to ship the magazine without the toy, or we can cancel your subscription entirely. There's no option to like pay extra and still get the stuff. So yeah, because of the tariff situation and everything, I will not have the magazine with the toy in the foreseeable future. I'm hoping things will be resolved. I think a lot of people are very upset with a lot of things right now, so I'm hoping a lot of this is going to be reverted soon-ish. Maybe it'll be resolved in a month and I can resume my subscription and nothing will change. But yeah, if things stay as they are, I will not be able to cover these anymore. If you guys are still interested in seeing the magazines without the minifigures, let me know in the comments, and if you guys really want to see that, I guess I could still keep getting them without the minifigures. But yeah, the minifigures are the most desirable part of these magazines for me. I don't really care a ton to get them without them, because like there's sometimes cool info in there, and yeah, I do enjoy the comics and everything, but the big draw is the minifigure. So yeah, I just wanted to keep you guys all updated on the situation. Unfortunate, I did not expect these things to affect me in this way, but I guess that is the cost of living where I live, huh? But yeah, I just wanted to say all that up front. Now let's take a look at the actual magazine, and we're gonna do a normal video from this point on. But now, looking at the full cover of the magazine, it says, cool, LEGO toy, Spectral Dragonian warrior, Ninjago Dragons Rising LEGO toy with detachable dragon maximum evil, Spectral Dragonian warrior. A little strange that warrior is not capitalized there. Looks a bit odd. How to be a ninja. Inside, the masters show you. Then we got some amazing posters, an epic 12-page comic. It's time for a muddy mission. Oh, okay. And new ninja shock. A secret warrior arises, but who is it? I don't know. Let's open and find out. Here on the first page, we have an ad for LEGO Dreams to enter the cyber game. Then on this page, there's the table of contents and the villain of the month. Rox, the leader of the Forbidden Five, has by far the creepiest grin of any villain. But it's not just her sinister appearance that strikes fear into her enemies. Her elemental power of fear also makes them tremble. I wouldn't know, they didn't show that in the show. Meanometer. Enter how mean you think Rox is. Anywhere from henchman to arch-villain. And then they're encouraging you to build your own thing. Rox may have been defeated, but she can always come back. Prepare for this by building ghoulish gear for your ninja to give the master of fear and the fright of her life. Alright, let's turn to the first page, which should be the bio page on the minifigure. And I'm actually a little bit curious about this because they don't really establish what these guys are in the show. Season 3, of course, just concluded. I'll try not to spoil too much if you guys haven't seen it yet. But these guys sort of show up and it's not really clear what they are or why they are what they are. are, so I wonder if we're going to get any more clarification here. From nice to nasty, after being thoroughly brainwashed by the Forbidden Five, the friendly Dragonians were transformed into demonic Dragonian warriors and turned against the ninja. What happened to us? The spell breaks, but when Thunderfang was defeated, the last bit of darkness disappeared from the Dragonian warriors and they transformed back into the Dragonians. 3. Why are they now ghosts? Good question, I'm asking the same thing. Though defeated, Thunderfang has reappeared as a powerful ghost dragon in the Spectral Lands. With his strength undiminished, he has once again gathered a band of Dragonian warriors around him. Like him, they have become ghosts. Okay, no clarification as to how that happened, why that happened, but sure, alright. Strengths, only visible through prismatic steel. If it touches you, you become a hollow one. Flies super fast. Weakness, cannot withstand sunlight. Imminent doom! The Spectral Dragonian warrior scout is looking for new candidates to turn into hollow ones, but he can barely see the unsuspecting passersby through the ghostly mist. Help him by writing the letters below on the passerbys in the fog. Alright, you just have to find all the characters from the Ninjago City workshops in here. Then, of course, there's the instructions to build the minifigure. Turning the page again, we have Among Friends. Alright, and this is like a series of puzzles and games to help Jay remember both Cole and Kai. This here is like one of those reflection puzzles. You have to see which of the two of them get to the end. This game, I'm going to be honest, I can't really tell what it's asking. I turned to the back and looked at the answers, and that still doesn't clarify things to me. I don't know if this is a translation thing, because these are originally made in German. It says, Kai and Jay play games until the buttons glow, but even these two pros get nervous when they face the boss. Help them by completing the key sequence logically. I don't know what key sequence is logical. Oh, wait, no, sorry. It's a pattern. You have to finish the pattern. That makes a lot more sense. I thought you had to pick which of these 6 was the logical, combination, and I was like, why? Which one is logical? I don't know. But no, each of these is a pattern, and you have to finish it off. That makes sense. Here you have to see whether Cole or Jay can eat noodles faster. Sure. Oh, and this is awesome. Here we have I Can't Stop Laughing. Jay is still a huge joker. Here he has made 2 memes about Kai and Cole. Which gag goes down better with the 2 of them? Count the letters in the laughs, enter the number in the boxes provided, and use the legend to calculate the laugh level. Wow, so our 2 memes here are Elemental Master of Earth, Elemental Master of Cake. That's pretty good. Then we have Kai, you don't play with fire, Wildfire. Also Kai. Clever, very good. These are awesome. They did something like this one time before, and it was so funny. This is probably this video's thumbnail, just because that's so awesome. Anyway, turning to the next page, we have Finally Build Together. Okay, this is cool. It's a little game where you have to build the tallest Lego tower. You roll dice to see which pieces you get. That's fun. Then here's the coloring page, or drawing page that we always get. This is the Source Dragon of Creation. As big fans of dragons, Ruby and Wildfire think they know them all. Show them a giant beast they haven't seen yet. Grab your crayons and draw the most epic dragon that you can imagine. That's fun. They didn't give you much to work with here. We just got a couple wings, but I think that's fine. And then we are at the comics. So as always with the comics, I'm not going to read the entire thing to you guys, but feel free to pause the video and read it for yourself. And if I notice anything especially funny or interesting, I will stop and point it out. Okay, so Wildfire wants to train Mr. Frohickey to be a ninja. They take him out to the training course. Okay, there's an uprising in the Mud Tide Village, which I don't believe we've seen Mud Tides before. We've seen other tides, so potentially new tide is going to be confirmed. That's kind of cool. And they're taking Frohickey with them to prove that he could be a ninja, which is very silly, but I like it. Let's see where this goes. Again, the Mud Tides are very funny looking. I like the chief here with a little leaf on his head. Frohickey tries to help, but he disrupted, and of course, because they're tides, they have an attitude. And it looks like there's a big one coming. However, now we are at the break in the comic, so we will be right back to that in a moment, but first we have Inner Peace. This is just a maze for Lloyd. Then we have the posters in the center of the magazine. On one side, we have Zane in his spectral suit. There's a Spectral Dragonian hidden behind him with these glowing red eyes. And it says, danger lurks everywhere. This is honestly kind of cool. I usually wouldn't like that text, but I don't know. I feel like it works. Very cool effect on the Dragonian. I like the glowing eyes. I like how he's sort of in the shadows. The sort of smoky effect on the bottom is quite good. And I like the render of Zane as well. That's a pretty good poster. Then the other side says, be a ninja for what's right, which is of course one of the lyrics to the Dragon's Rising main theme. And this is literally a screenshot from the Dragon's Rising Season 3 opening, but it's had this filter applied over it. I'm not a fan of these filters that they do sometimes. This is the kind of thing you can do on PixArt on your phone. It just makes the renders look really ugly. I would have preferred just a straight screenshot. I get adding a stroke or whatever, but yeah, this is too much for me. I know they're going for that comic booky effect, but it doesn't work. It does just feel like a phone filter. I like the layout of everything though, and the city in the background looks really cool. I'm just not a fan of what they did to Kai and Nia. Anyway, back to the magazine. We have Don't Be Scared. Dorama's creepy puppet haunts Frack in his sleep, but in his nightmares, the giant puppet looks different from the original. Show Frack that there's nothing to be afraid of by marking the 8 differences between the two. Ooh, the nightmare puppet's very scary. Then we have Fetch, which is just a maze for Ayu. I feel like we've had that exact thing before. And then if we turn the page again, we are back to the comic. Alright, Mr. Frohickey's trying to fight, but he's not doing so well, and it's because he needs his equipment. He needs his mop and everything. So let's see what happens next. Okay, so Frohickey picks up like a plant stalk and then starts using it as a staff, and he washes away the mud tide so it becomes tiny again. This is actually awesome. Look at him right here. He's got like mud armor on. That's sick. Maybe Frohickey could be a ninja. And we should have one more page left. Alright, Frohickey saves the day, they head back home, and now Frohickey's teaching Cole how to be a janitor. Honestly, this story was cute. Is it super lore relevant or important? No, not at all. But I liked seeing more Frohickey. This was a very fun dynamic to put him in. Getting a new tide is pretty cool. I hope that's official. I hope that's canon. I honestly had a lot of fun with this one. This was a good comic. Anyway, let's turn the page again. And now we have How to Be a Ninja. If you guys want to pause the video and read through all this, feel free. But essentially, it's explaining how you could be a ninja, and you can, like, pick out certain attributes to have. So you could choose a Master, Lloyd, Kai, Wu, Cole, or Eagle and Rontu. It's neat to have them there. Pick a virtue to master, get yourself the right equipment. Then we got the first Fang Ninja, second Fang Ninja, and third Fang Ninja. You can write down your elemental power, and then decide who's on your team. That's fun. I think as a kid I would have really enjoyed these pages. Turning the page again, we have Rontu's training. Nice. This is an advertisement for the Rontu set, one of the worst Ninjago sets in recent history. Let's see, is there anything going on here other than just being an advertisement? Here you have to try to hit Zark in the face with a Lego brick. That's fun. But yeah, this is basically just the advertisement page. Turning the page again, we have Big Question Mark. And this is a series of puzzles about Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 3 to catch Roz up on everything that happened while he was knocked out. And it looks like this is all based off Season 3, Part 1. They have some true or false questions, which are kind of funny, such as Lloyd has mutated into a mech. I like this one, Zark did not get a prismatic blade. The fact that they're calling that out is really funny. I feel like the magazine writers are also on the whole, like, Zark being a fraud train, because there was another magazine that also referenced that. But of course, yeah, that one's true. And then there's a few other games that just, like, quiz you on Season 3, Part 1. That's neat. And then after that, we are actually at the end of the magazine, and here we have an advertisement for next month's magazine, which is going to come with a Noct minifigure. That's pretty cool to get, because he's still has only pretty much come in big sets. Now he's come in 3 sets, so if you have quite a few Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 3 sets, you probably already have a Noct minifigure. But if you're on a bit of a lower budget, you can't get as many big sets. You may not have this guy yet, so having a cheaper way to get him is very nice. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier in this video, I may not be covering this magazine due to the entire situation. If you skip that part of the video, go back if you want to hear more about that. But yeah, not the best inclusion ever, far from the worst. I'm not going to be super bummed if I missed that one, but it would be nice to get an extra of him. And then finally at the end, it looks like we have some postcards. This one has a like wolf mask warrior symbol. This one has Frax symbol. This is like a monastery, and that's Aaron. Let's see the other side of them. Oh, sorry, that wasn't Aaron, that was Kai. It was just yellow, so I assumed Aaron. The Ninjago letter K and the Ninjago letter A are very similar. Kai says ninja never quit. This says never trust the snake, but never's crossed out. That's very funny, I like that. The monastery one is for Frohickey, never put off until tomorrow, what can be done today. Love that picture of him, it's very funny. And then we have villains never quit. Very silly. And that's about everything there is for the magazine. Honestly, pretty good one this time around. Games seemed very interesting. I like the comic a lot, surprisingly. It's far from the most important comic, but it was really good. It felt like it fit all the characters pretty well. It works in canon without being too important either. That's really solid. I want to see more fun comics like that. But anyway, I'll talk about all of that a little bit more at the end of this video. For now, let's take a look at the minifigures that the magazine came with. Here are the 2 minifigures that the magazine came with, fully put together. Of course, the Spectral Dragonian, who everybody's going to get if they get this magazine, as well as the bonus minifigure of the Imperium Claw Hunter. I'll start with the Claw Hunter because I'll go through him quickly since everyone's not going to get him. But his accessory is one of the Imperium blades on top of a staff. That's a neat way to mix up the Imperium blade a little bit and not just be like the generic weapon. However, that piece itself was new and unique to that wave, so that's just cool to get in general. And the actual Claw Hunter design is amazing. I mean, all the Imperium minifigures are phenomenal. I love the golden helmet with the horns coming out the front. The armor piece looks very sleek. I especially love the triangular shape at the chest. And then the face, torso, and legs are so incredibly detailed. The metallic gold printing on top of the gold piece looks incredible. The orange lights are an amazing accent color, and you got the little bit of dark red too. Imperium overall had an incredible design, and this is one of the best. Really, really love this guy. And there's tons of them in the show, so I'm quite happy to have another of him. But now moving on to the minifigure that everybody's going to get, the Spectral Dragonian. Accessory here is kinda lame, it's literally just a silver katana. I would have liked anything more interesting. However, I could excuse that a little bit because the minifigure itself has so many pieces, including the dragon attachment on the back. This is by far the highlight of this magazine gift because this does only come in 1 set. The regular Dragonians in January had these dark red in most sets, But the dark blue one with the wings only comes in one set, which is $110. And it's a shame because for play, it's a very fun part, the fact that they can detach and be its own little flyer. But also just accuracy to the show. I'm pretty sure every single Dragonian in the show had wings. So it's a shame it's not more common. If you want a more show-accurate Dragonian army, getting tons of these is the way to do it. But with that removed, the rest of this minifigure is also awesome. He of course has the Dragonian armor and headpiece, which are the same as January, just in new colors. Dark blue for the lower part, gunmetal gray for the upper part. There's red horns coming out the back too. And with those removed, I absolutely adore the colors on the rest of the minifigure. They used this like toothpaste blue as the base color, then transparent blue for the arms and red hands. And you can actually see like how the hand attaches into the arms inside of it because it's transparent. And it creates this really cool effect where it almost looks like he has arm printing. It just adds extra detail there, which minifigures with solid color arms don't have. Then we have the standard ghost tail piece in an all-new color, dual molded in transparent light blue and that like toothpaste blue color. And the torso has this really cool design with this like thunder fang symbol. And the face itself is printed on this darker blue, which really pops against that lighter color. The red eyes and mouth are so striking. And the alternate face is pretty neat too, because it has the Forbidden 5 like thunder fang symbol on top of the dark blue. So if you turn that around when the full armor is on, it makes it look like the Dragonian is shooting this spectral energy out of its mouth. I do prefer the Spectral Dragonians with the legs to the version with the tails, but they are one of my favorite generic Ninjago villain designs in a while, so I'm so happy the best version of them is more accessible. Ideally, they would have the printed legs with the dragon on the back as well, but the dragon on the back is definitely way more important than the legs. And the ghost tail does still look good, it's just I think the legs look better. So yeah, fantastic minifigure, very happy to get him here. It's exactly what a magazine promo should be. But now, what are my thoughts on the entire magazine overall? I mean, I think it's great. As I touched on, yeah, I really enjoyed the comic, games seemed pretty good. Posters were alright, not the best they've been, but also far from the worst. And yeah, minifigure is amazing, plus you get the bonus minifigure. I highly recommend picking this one up if you can. If you don't have the Dragonian yet, great, you can get them for cheap. And if you already have them, awesome, you get more. There's tons of these guys in the show and not nearly enough in sets. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this magazine in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to my channel if you're new. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.